Hello, welcome to a Smurd P video, and today we are looking at Boom Studios Hello Darkness issue 1. Now I have to put a disclaimer out there that there may be distressing pictures in this book, including those that are sexual as well as violent. So I always like unique colors. And mainly I picked this up because it's got Something is Killing the Children. It's got a sort of like a mini issue inside, etc. But the idea is that this is a multitude of stories, short stories. So there are some that will be individual, and then there will be some that will continue into next issue. Now, I'm really sorry, this is the boring bit. So I'm just going to say the writers and the illustrators, because otherwise I'll be here all day. So Contagious is written by Jude Ellison S. Doyle, and illustrations by Leticia Kadoniki. See, I Can't Take You Anywhere by Robert Hack, Stay in Your Lane by Dave Cook and David Cousins. Something is Killing the Children. A Monster Hunter Walks into a Bar. Part 1, James Tynion IV and Werther Dell'Edera. The Siren by Sarah Anson. The Faster, written by Steve Orlando and A.L. Kaplan on the art. And The War Part 1, written by Garth Ennis and illustrations by Becky Cloonan. So our first story is Contagious. So what seems to be happening is children are killing their parents, but it's not sure why. But all that seems to happen is that this message seems to be passed to the next friend along the line, like a sort of rumor. And then death happens, and obviously our lady in here, whose name I've already forgotten, is only has one friend, so she feels quite safe. And after a final killing in school, there is no internet, there is no phone, everybody is at home, and that's what they think they wanted. They wanted them isolated with parents. And one night, Wayne comes over and he tells her, and she understands. There is a vision about a future. Now, if they don't kill their parents, this future is going to happen. And they have no idea where this come from, whether it's come from aliens, gods, or what. But it's come in, and it is there. And then pretty much, the kid's name's called Charlie, and her mum is going to work. So going to work apparently is what is going to lead to this. And she is clearly some sort of scientist, and as the vision that she gets here. So she has only one thing to do, which is to go all stabby, I guess. So, yep, we have some monsters. Very, very simple. He wants to purchase some teeth. He has to feed the pets, and he's like, my eyes are up here. So yeah, very bizarre. Our next story is about a bowler. Now, this bowler called Old Dan. Dan was meant to be pro. He was meant to go pro. However, there was an accident that took all that away from him, and his hands were never the same. However, he continued to bowl. There were some scouts, and they chose another person today, and that sends Dan over the railings, so to speak, and he goes on a murderous, gruesome killing spree in a bowling thing. It's like every horror story's dream to deliver this. Yeah, quite brutal. He also talks about all these young kids, about his dream and how he worked, and basically it just all got to him. All that pressure, all that hard work, all that sacrifice as a young person, which you could argue a lot of these young people are given these opportunities very readily nowadays, rather than working their way from the bottom. There's no preparation to work hard to get to the top. I'm not saying that's all young people. Let me be clear. That is not the case. There is a lot of young people that I do know that work very hard to achieve what they achieve, whereas there are others that are just given these opportunities and perhaps may not even be good enough to have these opportunities. And all this stuff, I'm not going to go on a murderous rampage, just so I'm clear. I don't have any of those tendencies like poor old Dan here. So, you know, and all this led to, you know, him snapping, basically, in a nutshell. So, Erica Slaughter goes into a bar, and basically we learn that she's obviously hungry, but we learn that she's going to stop immediately around here. This is, of course, a cover story. We know why she's here. She's here because children are being killed. And but she blames it on the snow and the fact that the bus decided not to go this evening. So it's actually apparently good timing, because a couple of nights ago there was pitchforks and torches and the town was losing its mind, which is normal. Something is killing the children plot, so to speak. So he's about to give her a different a story so she can make her own mind and give her own perspective on it. So Erica does what she does best, is trying to get information out of people. So that wants to be continued. It will be interesting to see. So the siren has stalked this young man for a very long time, and her songs are beautiful, and they attract the male, as the old folk stories go. But all is still apparently, and her voice is gone. And she made a bargain. We have no idea what that bargain is, but she's going into the lighthouse. And, well, maybe she's going to kill him. Maybe she's going to make love to him. Maybe she's going to blow out his eardrums with her beautiful voice. Who knows? Anyway, next story. And this is a story that has something rude in it. So this young gentleman has sacrificed himself to keep a limb safe for somebody in the future that may need it. So he's a young student, perhaps at university, and he is gathering lots of information for the wrong reason. He is gathering that information for the hand. Everybody wants to see the hand. Even this dude down here who is doing very naughty things wants to see the hand in motion, you know, doing stuff with him. And I'm going to say this very weirdly. I actually thought of, wow, that hand's in a nice area to grab something between your legs. And then obviously this scene happened. So he starts losing it. He starts losing it because he's like, go away, get the hell out. This was meant to be about me. This was meant to be about me making this decision. This hand didn't do nothing other than getting damn chopped off by somebody previously. But maybe that's the thing. How many times have we seen horror films where a limb has taken over or done something extremely insane? You know, it takes me back to that Angel episode where Lindsay has the evil hand, the hand that wants to kill. So what does he do? No, he doesn't cut off that hand. He cuts off his hand. Oh my goodness. So now it's going to be finally his story. So it's either the hand is either going to end up on his arm or, yeah. It ends here, but I would have quite honestly liked to have seen more to this story. I feel like there could have been more to this hand. You know, in the next issue, maybe it gets in there. Maybe it starts whispering to him. I don't know. I feel like there's a missed opportunity there. And then we have the War Part 1. Now, I'm not going to lie. This is probably the most intelligent part of the whole story. However, maybe it's just me, and it's early, and I haven't had enough coffee yet. I took it very difficult for me to take it in. So it talks about war. And it's in today's world. It talks about nuclear weapons. It talks about previous standoffs. such as the Cuba incident, and it resulted in two people having a conversation to resolve it. And then they talk about they're not gonna release these nuclear weapons because that will literally wipe us out. It doesn't just wipe out everybody else. It would, for example, right out. Let's say, for example, the Americans sent it over to Russia. It wouldn't just wipe out the Russians. It would wipe out further. We also get, you know, NATO were poking the great big bear, so to speak, and you know they've got perhaps an insane dictator there, and they're just discussing these doomsday scenarios, etc. And it's a bit of a hard one, and you know this dude's just like, I'm just taking the first 30 seconds, so they end up getting cut off, and you know let's not do this, etc. But the worry seems to still be there, and this gentleman goes off with his wife, and I think he fancies the other girl. And basically he's, you know, because she says, well, you should have stopped it, you know. So his missus is a bit unhappy, and then he checks his phone, probably either a conspiracy, so somebody who's into these conspiracies about world political events that happen in the world, prepares for doomsday's events. And I thought that was perhaps where this was leading, that they're all going to go in a shelter and, you know, perhaps end up killing each other. Such as, it is a horror comic, so, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. But actually it ends up with something different. So the title is War, and it ends up with, actually, London's gone. London's just been wiped off. That's it. London's gone. That's how the story ends. To be continued. So although I struggle to get into it, because it's early, and the other stories just flow because they're literally just horror stories. It's easy for me to read, whereas this one I probably had to give a bit more thought to it, which is great. You know, when you read something, you want to be testing yourself. You know, you want to be challenged when you're reading something. You want to see something different, something new, and that's what this book is. It's a horror story, but it's also quite new and quite different to, you know, some of the things that perhaps I've seen and read before. And it's not the sort of book that I would have gone for. I've gone for this deliberately because Something is Killing the Children is in this book. Other than that, you know, so I'm quite surprised to be enjoying this as well as I have, because I've actually had this for a few weeks, and I put other comics before it because I realized it was this sort of process. And sometimes I don't like this sort of process. It's, you know, sometimes it's not very fun. But, you know, actually this works, and I'm actually looking forward to the thing. But like I said, I would have loved to see a Contagious Part 2 and even a Hand Part 2. I feel like those two stories had more to it. But you know what? If they do that, then I won't get a couple of interesting individual stories next time, will I? So there we go. So yeah, looking forward to that. And thank you for watching. If you like my channel, please subscribe. Thank you to everybody that subscribed me already. Really appreciate it. Make sure you look after yourself. Very important these days. And as always, embrace geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.